Good evening, councillors, staff, members of the public. I declare the ordinary council meeting on the 26th of July 2023 open at 5:30 p.m. Please stand. I wish to acknowledge the Garrett people as the traditional custodians of the land that we're meeting on and recognise their strength, resilience and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Thank you. Item number three, the recording of attendance. This meeting is being live streamed and audio recorded to facilitate community participation for minute-taking purposes, which may be released upon request to third parties. In accordance with Clause 616 of the Town of Port Hedland Standing Orders, Local Law 2014, members of the public are not permitted to use any visual or audio electronic device or instrument to record the proceedings of any meeting unless that person has been given permission by the presiding member to do so. Members of the public are also reminded that in accordance with Clause 617-4 of Standing Orders, mobile phones must be switched off and not be used during the meeting. 3.1 Attendance. I note that all councillors are present in the attendance listed under the minutes of 3.1 of the minutes. 3.2 Entertainers. Attendance by telephone, entertainment communication. We have Councillor Keller who is on Teams. And 3.3 Apologies. We have Councillor Coles who is an apologies for tonight's meeting. 3.4 Approved leave of absence. Mr. CEO, do you have any approved leaves of absence at all?
I've received none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. 3.5 Disclosure of interest. CEO, have you included any disclosure of interest at all?
I've not received any, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Councillor Gillingham.
Through the chair, yes. 12.2.1, the grants item that's coming up later on. I do have an impartiality.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Gillingham. Okay, item number 4, approved leave of absence. CEO, do you have any approved leave of absence at all?
Mr. Mayor, I have an application from Councillor Zilke for the period 31 July to 7 August 2023, inclusive.
Okay, thank you, CEO. Can I have a mover on that, please? Thank you, Councillor Turner. Have a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Bennett. Is there anyone against that motion? You're clear to go, Councillor. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. Item number 5. Response to previous questions. Item number 5.1. Response to questions received at the ordinary council meeting held on the 28th of June 2023 have been provided to individuals and are detailed within the agenda. Item number 6, public time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an opportunity of members of the public to ask questions of council. Clause 6.7-3 of the Town of Port Hedland Standing Orders Local Law requires members of the public wishing to ask questions to complete the question form and place the completed form in the tray provided. If the presiding member determines that the questions and statements are out of order due to the offensive or objectionable expression or defamatory, they will not be considered, recorded nor responded to. 6.1 Public question time. I will open public question time at 5:33 p.m. Mr. CEO, have you received any questions at all?
I've received none, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, CEO. Do any members of the public wish to ask any questions at all? Mr. Blanco, can you please come forward, state your name and address for the record, please?
Camilo Blanco, 18 Harwell Way. Obviously, you're adopting the budget tonight, so I just had a quick look. Can you explain the difference in the budget on page 2 under materials and contracts? It's got an estimate of 65,900,000, and then on page 3, payments under materials and contracts, it's got an actual payment amount of 42,600,000, so it's about a $23 million difference. Can you explain that?
Okay, I'll ask the Director, Travis, to explain it to you.
That difference is 24 million, and it does relate to the spoil bank money.
Thank you, Travis.
Yes.
So that's the difference.
Do you have any other questions?
So what is the rollover amount in dollars that is expected from the 22-23 budget into the 23-24
I'd
budget?
like the Finance Director, Travis.
For carry forward for capital works,
Yeah,
10,947,447.
okay.
Do you have any more questions, Mr. Lane?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So I'll tell you when I'm done. It's okay.
I'm sorry?
All right. So why do you have a 65 million materials and contracts amount in the 22-23, but only 25 million in the 23-24? So again, it's about a 40 million reduction, and there doesn't seem to be any significant reduction in rates.
Travis.
Answer
Okay.
to that.
Okay, the $76 million reduction is a $36 million contribution to the Spoil Bank made during this year, during the last financial year.
Thank you, Mr. Blanco. You had 3 questions. Thank you.
Oh, we're done. Is that it?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any more public questions at all? Yes, can you please come forward, state your name and address for the record, please? Thank you.
Good evening, Zach Slaughter, 10 Monks Place, Port Hedland. I have 3 questions I'd like to ask towards the end, but just want to give a quick overview and background on what I'm asking. So I'm here representing Marine Rescue Port Hedland. I'm the commander of the group. Marine Rescue Port Hedland are a vital Department of Fire and Emergency Service, 100% volunteer organisation responsible for preserving and saving lives at sea in Port Hedland. We play a critical role in marine search and rescue operations, safeguarding both commercial and recreational vessels navigating the Pilbara coast, all while doing this from the dilapidated facilities at 10 McKay Street, Port Hedland. Presently, Marine Rescue Port Hedland are progressing with a dilapidated facility replacement project, which aims to enhance our emergency response capabilities and community safety. The project entails constructing a new state-of-the-art office, demolishing the existing 117-year-old dilapidated office, and expanding the boat storage shed. This comprehensive undertaking will ensure a safer environment for marine rescue volunteers to operate and respond to marine emergencies. Marine rescue volunteers look forward to working with the town of Port Hedland and its community stakeholders to accomplish this project and ensure the future for our not-for-profit emergency service organization. Question 1. Have the council received a copy of Marine Rescue Port Hedland's development application for 10 McKay Street, Port Hedland, which includes the heritage assessment report of the Port Hedland former state school from Department of Lands, Planning and Heritage, DPLH?
Director Craig.
Through the chair, we have received a referral from DPLH. The exact nature of the documentation that's been provided, I'm not aware of, but I expect we can provide that response. So I'll take that part of it on notice.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, it might be on its way.
You have another question?
Yeah, question 2. Have the town of Port Hedland received a letter from Marine Rescue Port Hedland on a request to change the heritage category of the Port Hedland former state school, place number 13, sent on the 26th of June 2023, to change the heritage category from category B to category C in the town of Port Hedland's heritage inventory register?
Craig, will you add something for us?
Again, I'll have to take that one on notice. I'll chase that up with my officers. and
I'll
provide
have a
response.
copy of that. I'll provide it to you after the questions are completed. Okay. And question 3, when do the town of Port Hedland expect to respond to both the letters, the request to change the heritage category for Port Hedland former state school and developmental application, which I imagine if you haven't received it yet, you will be soon. So I'll take that on notice.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Do you have any more public questions at all? Yes, right. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Roger Higgins, 119 Hickory Street. Question to the Mayor. The Australian had an article about you on the 29th of June this year, in which you were described as Albo's man in Port Hedland with regard to your involvement in housing projects being sought in Vietnam. And it talked about multiple villas and you seeking suppliers, etc., and partners for some 4,000 prefabricated houses. Can you explain to us exactly what your involvement is in this, or are you just an innocent party to this article?
I can't answer that at the moment because of legal proceedings. Thank you. Next question.
My second question. In relation to that particular matter, I would have expected that as Mayor, given what was involved there, you would declare a financial interest. Have you any financial interest in that project at all?
As I said, Mr. Stevens, I've taken that as the operation at the moment is in the court, so we'll leave it at that at the moment. I cannot comment. Thank you.
Okay, now there have been some questions asked before. Councillor Gillingham, for example, wanted some information about this and in relation to this particular deal. The question is, have you informed the Minister for Housing of what's been going on, or is it all just in the dark and been put aside?
As I said, it's being handled at the moment by legal proceedings, so I cannot answer that. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any more public questions at all? Yes, can you please come forward, state your name and address for the record, please? Thank you.
Sorry, what was that?
State your name and address for the record, please. Your name and address for the record.
Address?
Name and address, yes.
Okay. Chris Walls, from the Head and Water Quality Association.
Okay.
Evening all. As you already know, that the shack is already under maintenance again. It's been like that for multiple times over a number of years as well as Great Wick, but we're wanting to know the time frame, obviously, and when that's going to be completed. And obviously we've got contractors that have done previous work. Just wondering whether we can use those contractors that to complete those works.
I might hand it over to Lee.
So at this stage, from when parts arrive, it'll be 8 to 10 weeks. So we're still awaiting that, and we are awaiting the passing of the budget to be able to contract those people to finish those works.
So we're looking like next year, early next year?
No, it'll be open for summer.
For summer?
Yes, we're quite confident of that.
Okay.
Yep.
No worries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any more public questions at all? Yes, do you want to please come forward, state your name and address for the record, please? Thank you.
Good evening, John Ashton, 11 Spoonbill Crescent, South Hedland. Good evening, Mayor Peter Carter and councillors. I hope this evening's session finds everyone well. Tonight I come before the members of council with a matter that requires clarity and transparency pertaining to the funding of Mayor Peter Carter's defamation case. As some of you are aware, Mr Camilo Blanco directed a series of inquiries to Mayor Peter Carter and council through email, one of which specifically related to the funding of the mentioned defamation case. Regrettably, during the last ordinary council meeting, when Mr Blanco attempted to raise this important question, it was met with a response indicating that such an inquiry was deemed inappropriate and was, for a better word, discouraged from further discussion. However, the same question posed by Mr Blanco was subsequently addressed by the CEO in an interview with the North West Telegraph. Seemingly presenting the disparity in the treatment of this, in the North West Telegraph, seemingly presenting a disparity in the treatment of this matter. In light of our democratic values and the importance of accountability, I humbly seek clarification from Mayor Peter Carter on this issue. It is my belief that providing a clear and consistent response to such queries is essential for the fostering of public trust and maintaining the integrity of our governance system. Therefore, I kindly request Mayor Peter Carter to explain the reasons behind the contrasting response and provide insights into the decision-making process that led the CEO's address of the same question to the media outlet. Transparency and accountability are the cornerstones of an effective and responsive local government, and it is of utmost respect that I raise this question during public question time. I trust that the Mayor Peter Carter will provide an illuminating response, benefiting not only the inquirer, but also the entire community that you all serve.
As I said, I cannot answer that at the moment due to the court proceedings. Thank you. Do you have
Sorry,
any other
what was
questions?
that?
Because of the court proceedings, I can't answer that question at the moment. Thank you. Do you have any other questions at all?
I also would like to address a matter concerning Mayor Peter Carter's position as both the Mayor and CEO of Source Connect. My question pertains to the core business of Source Connect and the steps taken by Mayor Peter Carter to ensure that there is no financial relationship that could potentially create a conflict of interest. Firstly, I would appreciate if Mayor Peter Carter could provide us with an overview of Source Connect's core business activities.
As I said, I cannot answer that at the moment due to the court proceedings. Thank you. You have one more question. Thank you.
Understanding the nature of the company's operation will help us better comprehend the potential implications of the Mayor's dual roles. Secondly, as a concerned citizen, I seek to understand the measures taken by Mayor Peter Carter to clearly establish the absence of any financial ties or conflicts of interest between his position as public office and his role as CEO of Source Connect. Safeguarding the integrity of both roles is essential to maintain public trust and confidence in our local governance. It is crucial for us, the public, to be assured that Mayor Peter Carter's involvement with Source Connect aligns with the highest ethical standards and does not compromise the interests of the community he serves. Therefore, I respectfully request Mayor Peter Carter to elaborate on the processes used to ascertain the independence of his position to how he ensures transparency in this matter. By addressing these concerns openly and transparently, Mayor Peter Carter can demonstrate his commitment to upholding the principles of good governance and avoiding any appearance of impropriety.
Thank you, Johnny. As I said, I cannot answer that due to the court proceedings, but thank you for your 3 questions. Thank you.
All right. And lastly...
Sorry, you've had 3 questions. You've had 3 questions.
And
Thank
lastly...
You've had 3 questions.
No,
You've had 3 questions. Sit down. You've had 3 questions. You've had 3 questions, okay? I've given you 3 questions.
How long do we get for question time?
You've had 3 questions.
Can
Sit down,
someone
please.
I've
You've had
got
3
a couple more
questions. You've had 3 questions. Sit down, please.
Can someone
Sit down.
please
You've had 3 questions.
move a motion of
You've had 3 questions. Sit
dissent?
down. I'm going to ask you one more time. 3 questions. Sit down. Sit down. Sit down. I will call a 30-minute recess to the council. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, for those benefits here, by the way of exception, question time, understanding orders allows for 3 minutes of questions. Mr. Atkinson had, at the podium, had 3 questions. I asked repeatedly to stand down and he didn't. That's why I called a 30-minute recess. So we'll go back to public question times. Do you have any more public questions at all? Yes, can you please come forward, state your name and address to the record, please? Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Gillian Fisher. I reside at 3 Mitchie Crescent in South Headland. Firstly, I would like to start with the attachments associated with tonight's meeting agenda. It is my understanding that councillors receive the attachments in the same electronic form at the same time as they're uploaded to the website. This is extremely important budget information which cannot be read. I've got an example here this is an A4 size. I've also expanded up to 200% on a large screen, and there's parts of this budget that I can't read anyway. So I find that I don't understand how councillors can approve figures when their tables are pixelated and unreadable. So my first question is the administration of the town of Port Hedland and ultimately the CEO, did they proofread this before they uploaded it to the website? And are they trying to obfuscate residents who wish to study these budget figures and actively participate in their town's financial oversight?
Mr Mayor, thank you for the question. No, certainly not. We're not trying to obfuscate any information, and apologies if it is not overly clear. We are in the process of changing our software program, which will hopefully improve the quality and resolution of the information. All councillors have received it through briefing and in hard copy as well. They receive it through a slightly different format to the website.
Oh, okay. No worries. Okay.
Thank you. Do you have another question?
The second question? Yes.
Certainly.
Okay, so thankfully, page 55, section 13, which is elected members' remuneration, is very clearly defined. So I wish to draw councillors' attention to the elected member, Mayor Peter Carter's salary, and the 2022-23 actuals, and the 2023-24 budgeted remuneration. A 5-second scroll investigation on the internet shows up to 13 negative references to Mayor Carter in local, state and national newspapers since his election to the position in October 2021. That's not even 2 years. Yes, so we've discussed the most recent article, which is titled Albo's Man in Port Hedland in Vietnam Housing Push in the Australian newspaper on the 29th of June from memory. So my second question asks, will the councillors tonight continue to reward bad behaviour and ruin the reputation of our town by continuing to allow this current mayor to remain publicly undisciplined by his fellow councillors, as is perceived by the Hedland community?
It's a statement, not a question. Thank you.
The last one was a question.
Oh, it's more of a statement.
Well, it's got a question mark and I started with will, but okay, well then for my final question. This one here, this Town of Port Hedland Code of Conduct for Council Members and Committee Members and Candidates document was adopted on the 28th of April 2021. For it seems nothing. This mayor has not acquitted himself in the manner expected of the position. He's used the role to promote his personal business networks both in Australia and overseas. He has found in compromising positions while actively representing the role of mayor amongst students and teachers. If this was a similarly high-paid position in the private sector, this behaviour would not be tolerated and it should not be condoned here by keeping this current mayor at his current pay grade. This is my third question. Can the councillors present tonight please detail how they think that this current mayor deserves to receive an amount of $144,975 in 2022-23, or even to increase his allowance, fees, expenses to $146,310 in the next financial year?
We'll take that as a statement. Thank you very much.
Oh, that was a question.
Well, it's a statement. I'll take it as a statement. Thank you.
I'll drop
Okay.
my questions in
Okay.
here.
Do you have any more public questions at all? Okay, I will close public question. You've had 3 questions, Mr. Blanco.
Yes.
Mr. Blanco, you've had 3
Yes.
questions. Mr. Blanco, you've had 3 questions. Please sit down.
Yep.
Please sit.
Can I just divert your attention to
Mr.
standing
Blanco?
orders?
Mr. Blanco?
6.7.
Mr. Blanco,
10.
please sit down. I'll call another recess if you like.
Can I get a motion of dissent on that,
No,
please?
it's a question. Okay. Please sit down. You've had 3 questions.
Point of order.
Please sit
through the
down.
chair.
You don't get it. Councillor Gillingham. Please sit down, Mr. Blanco.
Just got a
You've
point
had,
of order.
You've
I
had
have a
3
point
questions.
of order through the chair.
What's the point of order?
Thank you. I thought you wasn't going to ask me my point of order through the chair. Thank you. Your conduct, Mayor, tonight is just unbecoming, and people have come out of their houses to actually come and spend time at this meeting tonight, which is normally a public meeting for the agenda, is normally a special meeting where people can ask as many questions as they can
No, they can't.
at a special council meeting, which this is not. And this would have all been avoided tonight if we'd had a special meeting to actually hold just the budget followed by a normal council meeting. But you're out of order tonight, Mayor, and so I'd like to move that our public can continue asking their questions, because there's obviously a lot of questions tonight because it is a budget item tonight. I move that we ask that I ask that the public is allowed to ask their questions tonight. And
Standing-
I ask the council
Councillor Gillingham?
for a seconder, please.
Standing orders is 3 questions only. Thank you. It's not a procedural motion. Thank you. Sit down, Mr. Blanco. Thank you. Do you have any
Standing
more
order states
sit-
6.710.
Mr.
You
Blanco,
can
sit down.
extend.
Mr. Blanco, sit down.
You can extend public question
Mr.
time.
Blanco,
Point
sit
of order.
down. Sit down.
Point
Mr. Blanco,
of order.
you've had 3 questions.
Read
You've had 3
standing orders.
questions.
Read
Order through
it.
the chair, please.
Yes, Councillor.
So the gentleman is correct in saying that, again, through your decision, standing orders can be extended. Again,
I haven't extended it.
I'm not saying it has, but what I'm saying is there is availability to do that. And I would draw reference to the fact that over time, in council chambers, we've allowed 3.5 hours of question time to be heard during points of references. All we're saying is, again, providing the fact that we can keep this, obviously we've been half an hour past the due date now, as long as we can get through, and I don't know how many questions have had, there's obviously only 2 more people that are willing to get up. I, for one, would be happy, so what I'm going to do is move a procedural motion that your decision be disagreed with, and we allow some more questions, please.
Well, I won't allow it.
Well, you don't have that choice. It's a procedural motion that your decision be disagreed with, which is a procedural motion which I'm well within my power to do, please. I'm happy for you to be corrected.
Okay, you need a second for that motion.
So seconded.
Yeah, okay. We'll put it to the vote. Okay. All those in favour? 4. All those against? 4.
4-3.
4. On the screen. Thank you, Mr. Blanco. Thank you. 4. The casting vote. Thank you. Sit down, Mr. Blanco. 3 questions are up. Thank
Then I put a motion of dissent through the chair.
you. Sorry,
I put
Councillor?
in a motion of dissent, thank you.
Hang on a sec. Hang on a sec. You said 4-4?
Yeah, I have a casting vote.
7 councillors here.
There's one on the
Oh,
screen,
we've got
Mr.
one.
Blanco. Thank you. Sit down. Thank you. Okay, do you have any more public questions at all?
I just called a motion of dissent through the chair. Do I have a seconder?
There is none. Thank you. So, you've had 3 questions. Sit down, please. Sit down.
6.7.10.
Sit down. Do you have any more public questions at all? Okay, I'm going to close public question time at 6:25 p.m. Thank you.
And 10.5.
6.2 public statement time.
Motion of
I declare
point of
public
order.
statement time
I
over
call
at
point of order.
6:25 p.m. Do you have any public statements at all? Yes, Mr Blanco, come forward, state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Camilo Blanco, 18 Harwell Way, Wedgefield. So, over your term as councillors, there has been an obvious decline in the standard of this council and administration. And you just saw a classic example of it just then. It starts with the mayor not answering any basic questions that are asked of him at any council meeting. We're now allowing the minutes to be altered and not reflect the actual happenings of public time. The CEO has sent me an email stating that you as council members don't have to forward any information received by the public to the administration. That's contrary to my understanding and the training that we did when I was a councillor through Walga. You don't have to answer any questions that the public puts to you. Again, contrary to the training that I had when I was a councillor. It's clear to me that your understanding of the budget is severely limited. You're not aware about the millions of dollars being spent without being in the budget. That was clear in the half-yearly review. And when questioned about that, you just ignore the correspondence. What kind of an example is that? You're quite happy to approve a budget and then let the administration butcher it at the half-yearly review without any scrutiny. You seem to be unaware of the financial management regulations that require the budget reporting to be done at specific dates. And that's clearly not happening. The staff now seem to be rebutting the public comment in the minutes and being critical of legitimate statements made. This is not the way to ensure public participation. And probably the biggest issue of them all is the complete disastrous interaction between the mayor and the people trying to speak at your meetings. Now, I'm pretty experienced in this, so, it doesn't really bother me. But, tonight we've got a lot of people here that are watching this. Do you really think that they would want to get up and ask questions, legitimate questions that are put to a council that then you are supposed to put to the administration and rectify any issues that might be happening in the community? That's not going to happen when you have this sort of conduct. And you've mentioned that yourselves in meetings multiple times. Now, and I've said to you before, it's hard for people to get up and speak in a public setting. And then when they see the debacle that goes on in our meetings, any normal person will refrain. That's contrary to the intent of this council structure and our democratic process of interacting with elected representatives. You need to do much better, but I don't see any improvement. So you need to consider your position at the next election in October and allow somebody else the opportunity, because you clearly are incapable of engaging with the public fairly.
Thank you, Mr Blanco. Do you have any more public statements at all? Yes, Johnny, please come forward, state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Yeah, John Ashenden, 11 Spoonbill Crescent, South Edlin. Thank you for providing me with the opportunity to address the council and the community. Today I come before you to express my deep concerns regarding the tenure of Mayor Peter Carter and a series of questionable events that have unfolded during his time in office. As residents and stakeholders, we place our trust in our elected officials to lead with integrity, transparency and accountability. However, a collection of disconcerting incidents has recently come to light, casting doubt on Mayor Peter Carter's ability to uphold these essential values. I draw your attention to various articles in reputable news outlets such as The Australian, ABC News, The West Australian, The North West Telegraph, which have reported incidents that raises serious questions about the Mayor's conduct and decision-making. One concerning incident highlighted in the media was Albo's Man in Port Hedland in the Vietnam housing push, where Mayor Peter Carter's involvement in a housing deal drew scrutiny. Additionally, the reports of the alleged inappropriate conduct during a school board webcam meeting and lewd conduct further contributed to growing calls for the Mayor's resignation. Furthermore, news outlets have reported instances of financial missteps, such as big noting Port Hedland Mayor digs financial hole, which has raised concerns about the fiscal management of our town. The involvement with the venture like Pilbara Airlines, which failed to materialise, has also raised eyebrows amongst residents. These incidents, coupled with reports of a corruption complaint against Mayor Peter Carter, has significantly eroded public trust and faith in his ability to serve our community diligently. Moreover, the apology issued for alleged remarks to a resident, then taken the resident to court, further calls into question the appropriateness of the Mayor's behaviour. As a concerned citizen, I firmly believe that we must hold our elected officials to the highest ethical standards. The accumulation of these incidents raises significant doubts about the Mayor Peter Carter's ability to fulfil his responsibilities effectively. In light of these developments, I urge the Council to seriously consider a reduction in Mayor Peter Carter's pay until a thorough and independent investigation is conducted to address the concerns raised in these reports. This measure will underscore our commitment to accountability and allow for fair and transparent assessment of the situation. In conclusion, I call upon the Council and Mayor Peter Carter to address these issues with the utmost seriousness. Our community deserves leaders who uphold the values we cherish and serve with integrity and transparency. Together, let us work towards a stronger and more accountable governance for the betterment of Port Hedland. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Do you have any more public statements at all? Yes, please come forward, state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Gillian Fisher. I reside at 3 Mitchie Crescent in South Hedland. Again, I would like to relay my frustration in trying to decipher the extremely poor reproductions in the budget and the planned community transfer station architectural drawings, which are included in tonight's attachments. None of the words nor the numbers are readable, so residents and councillors can hardly make an informed decision based on the information provided. But with an interest in recycling and the circular economy, I was keen to read the Town of Port Hedland Waste Management Strategy 22-27 for background to this agenda item. I read that in 2022, an action of the Town of Port Hedland was to finalise the landfill closure plan and estimated life expectancy of the current site. At nowhere did I read any information in the agenda or attachments where this date, or at least a year, was stated. I don't think councillors should be voting to endorse the concept design for the community transfer station at the South Hedland landfill, as per attachment 1, when the information regarding its closure date has not been widely publicised in the agenda for residents. Why would council wish to build an expensive complex for a short-term facility? Is this not a total waste of money? As the agenda highlights it as a similar model, another point I wish to draw to councillors' attention is that in 2021, on-site management at the 7 Mile Waste Facility in Karratha and City of Karratha waste managers told an on-site conference field tour that the tip shop there was too small when it was built. This frustrates recycling and reuse programs to procure, store and market recycled and donated items effectively. Each cyclone season, November to March, due to the lack of shed space, profitable items stored outside must be discarded directly to the tip face by bypassing the reuse venue altogether. Hedland needs a tip shop where the community can be involved on site in the creative use of recycled items. In the current plans, I do not see any purpose-built areas for community groups to hold workshops or to even clean, conduct basic repair, or build basic products from various recycled items for prototype ideas, for example, for the public. Imagine, for example, community deadly treadly, push bike repair and recycling, cut off IBCs for low-cost veggie gardens, or an annual working or static art competition based on items built in the workshop at the tip shop. People are keen to learn how to upcycle, repair and remodel items in a creative and productive workshop atmosphere, which then further drives the circular economy. Hedland is a very rich town and alternatives to a current lack of tip shop facilities need to be found now, before either a community transfer centre can be built or the planned closure of the landfill enacted. With a strong local sustainability movement present in both towns and a growing cost of living forcing low socio-economic residents to tighten their belts, the town needs to provide an outlet for a second-hand goods venue of some kind to prevent perfectly working products ending up in landfill by relocating workers faced with a lack of alternatives. In essence, I believe this planned community transfer station is rudimentary and poorly designed for the future of Hedland. We can do better. With the benchmark being the South Hedland Skate Park, built as one of Australia's largest and most advanced skate parks, surely the town of Port Hedland can put at least the same amount of creativity into this facility, as it would be used by twice the amount of people, if not more. After all, with a current population of 15,500 in 2022, and apparently with 4,000 homes being built, the extra 8,000 population needs an equivalent state-of-the-art tip shop to go with the council's award-winning skate park. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any more public statements at all? Yes, please come forward, state your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Verity Page of 13 Carry Way, South Hedland. Excuse me. Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor and Council members. I am the Secretary of the Hedland Water Polo Association and I am here on behalf of the committee to express our support for the Council and the Town of Port Hedland for the ongoing works at the South Hedland Aquatic Centre. No one knows more than the Polo Club about the importance of our pools to the community. While our club appreciates the investment that you have made in securing Shack for future use, we would like to express the importance of the centre being patron ready for the start of our season in mid-October. We look forward to the town and council support on this. We would also like to voice our support for the development of the South Hedland Integrated Sports Hub. And we look forward to the future of sports and recreation, particularly the polo-ready pool, with much excitement. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Thank you. Do we have any more public statements at all? Okay, I will close public statement time at 6:39 p.m. Thank you. 6.3. Petition interpretations, presentations and submissions. There is nil. Item 7. Question for members out public. Are there any questions from elected members at all?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, through the chair.
Yes, Councillor Cleahan.
Last month I actually asked at the Ordinary Council meeting about your trip with other councillors to Canberra, and we still have not had any presentations back regarding all the meetings that you've had with ministers and with the councils that went with you. And this is over a month now, and will the town and will the public and our councillors know more in the very near future, please?
I've actually just finished those councillors. I'll be in there tomorrow. You'll have them out. Thank you.
Thank you. And
no worries. Thank you.
today I've only just learnt that we had our Premier arrive in Port Hedland
Correct.
with the Minister for Local Government, Honourable David Michael, and you've actually short notice that you actually turned some turf at the
Marina.
marina.
Correct.
So for the benefit of councillors who we didn't even know this was happening, also to the benefit of our public here tonight, could you give us a brief update on exactly what happened? Thank you.
The statement has been put out today by the town. Thank you, Councillor Gillingham. Any more public questions at all? Okay, thank you. Item number 8, announced by the presiding member. It's about discussion. Members for meeting for the month of June 2023 are detailed and printed in the agenda. Item 9, declaration for all members giving all due consideration to all matters contained in the business paper before the meeting. I invite all elected members to declare by a show of hands that they have given all due consideration to all matters contained within the agenda. May I have a show of hands, please? Yeah, okay. Thank you, councillors. Item number 10, confirmation of previous minute. We have offered recommendation before us that council confirm the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on Wednesday the 31st of May 2023 are a true and a correct record. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Turner. Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Zilke. Are there any questions? Motion's carried, absolutely, 8-0.
Through the chair,
Yes, sorry, Councillor.
you didn't ask, was there anybody against?
Was there any go-
I'm against, thank you.
You're against?
Against that item, thank you.
Okay. Okay, Councillor Turner.
Through the chair, I've considered the minutes. Believe they're a true reflection of what was discussed and what was presented. So I move that they're passed.
Great. Thank you, Councillor Turner. Councillor Zilke.
I agree with you, with Deputy Mayor Turner. Despite some changes that were taken out, it's all procedurally correct, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Zilke. Anyone else against? Okay. Councillor Gillingham.
Thank you. I didn't actually think that we had discussion for this particular item, but I will say that it is not a true account, and I would like to move that everything that has been taken out of those minutes of the 31st of May be returned for a true and correct assessment of the actual meeting. Thank you. So I move, and I would like to move that they are put back in, and if I hope I do have a seconder from around the council table. Thank you.
Okay. Is anyone else for it?
I'll be able to introduce a motion whilst we're discussing a current motion, just out of curiosity.
Amendment?
Well, it wasn't put up as an amendment, it was put up as a separate motion.
It's not an amendment, it was a foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing, yep. Councillor, you'd like to foreshadow?
I would like to move that the information is reinstalled into the 31st of May. True, correct of the minutes of that ordinary council meeting on Wednesday the 31st of May.
Okay, yeah. Okay. We can take that as a foreshadow motion, Councillor, and we'll continue the debate. Thank you. Anyone else for? Anyone else against? No. Sum up, Councillor Turner.
Nothing more to say.
Nothing more to say? Okay, thank you. Put it to the vote. All those in favour of the minutes? Can you hear us, Councillor? Those against? One. Motion.
Can you just clarify? Patsy's hand.
I wasn't actually there for that meeting, so I can't vote.
Still required to vote, councillor.
Yeah. So I'll put the vote again. All those in favour? Those against? 7-1. Motion passed. Thank you. Item 11, reports of communities. There is nil.
Do we not have another meeting to pass the minutes of?
Oh, Mr. June, sorry. Sorry, councillors. I have office recommendation before it that council confirm the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on Wednesday, the 28th of June 2023. A true and correct record. Can I have the mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Zilke. Have a seconder. Councillor Bennett, thank you. Is anyone against the motion? Oh. Motion is carried. Thank you. Before we go into reports of communities and officers, I remind members of the public not to take any action on council's decision on items on this evening's agenda which they may have an interest in, until formally notified in writing by the town has been received. Decisions made at this meeting can be revoked in line with the Local Government Act 1995. Item number 11, reports of communities, there is nil. Item number 12, reports of officers. 12.1, corporate services. 12.1.1 policy review 10119. Council briefings. Offered recommendation to adopt and amend policy 1-019. Council briefings as per attachment 1. Can I get a mover, please?
I'd like to move an alternate recommendation, thank you.
Yes, Councillor Gillingham. Is there a seconder on that?
Sorry, can we just get some clarification on what was asked? So can I correct in saying that we're just going to change from attachment 1 to attachment 2? Is that correct?
It's the part of the meeting, the part of the policy to include the recordings for all meetings and briefings. Attachments 2, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Is there a seconder on that? Councillor Christensen? Anyone against? Okay. Councillor Gillingham? You want to talk to the motion?
Yes, thank you. It's come to our attention that a lot of information should really be recorded in this policy. As part of this policy, to alleviate lots of happenings that's happened over the last couple of months. So it just stands for itself that we really need to be open and transparent to our public and to anybody that is listening, and also to ourselves. At the end of the day, we are the people around the table, the councillors who are making the decisions, and also we need to be open and accountable for our organisation. So this is just stands alone when it comes to the policy, and needs to be included in the policy for this present day of being able to record everything that we can record without too much of a hassle. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gillingham. Councillor Christensen?
Sorry, just a point of clarification before I do my for my seconding. So we're just debating the amendment, correct? So debating the rights for the amendment, not the actual substantive motion, correct?
No, my understanding is that Councillor Williams proposed an alternate motion, which is to basically go with attachment 2, and I think the Mayor's inviting debate and discussion on the alternate motion.
No, I'm just leave that. So I'll keep mine pretty concise. I'm for this only because I haven't been a hider of my belief that I think this is a step in the right direction. Much to what Councillor Gillingham has presented, it comes with some accountability. It comes with some, I guess, not knowing what's said. It does. I'm not going to detract from it. It does come with some risks, and that's something that I think we need to take into consideration. But the 5 key points that I'm really wanting to hit home is it's going to help us streamline and keep track of all of our meetings we have. With all due respect, when I first came into this position, I was told on the odd occasion you might have 1 or 2 meetings a month, and I found that to be completely and utterly close to the truth, but not really. The amount of meetings we have are honestly getting out of control. It's hard to keep track of what we're talking about. So I think this would help streamline. The biggest one for me, it allows self-evaluation and reflection. To sit back, watch yourself, watch how you speak, and watch how other people speak. Your self-evaluation should go through the roof. And much to the point of some of the members in the public, I think that's something that we need to do a lot more of, is self-reflection. I think this was a very good indication that we can do that using this. It keeps everyone in the loop. We can see today is a key example. We're missing Councillor Coles. Although, yes, this meeting's recorded, she can now play it back, watch it, what's going on, understand a bit more clearly. I think if we have it available to us with other members not being there, they can keep in the loop. It's a reliable source of the truth. There's no if, buts and maybes. It's not down to interpretation on what potentially could be put through minutes, etc. But the last one is you don't miss out on any of the details. We have the availability at any point in time, if we wish or deemed it required, we can go back in our own time, in our own way of learning, to further educate ourselves on, again, an absolutely immense amount of information that gets jammed down our throats on a monthly basis. So, me personally, I think this is it's a win-win. Do I think it's perfect? No. I said I do see some risks there that we need to address, but like anything else, I think we need to weigh up the risk and see what the benefits come out of it. So, thanks for that.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Christian. Those against? Councillor Turner. They were for it. You're against it? Against it, yeah. Yeah, so you're next. Yeah.
Through the Chair, certainly appreciate the points that have currently been made, and I think I speak for the whole council in that there is a genuine commitment for transparency and accountability. That is done. We currently fulfil those requirements as per legislation. And the televisation of these meetings. I have some serious concerns about the recording of the briefings and other meetings in the way that information may be used in the future. If I'm really honest, I mean, I've swung both ways on this. So at times I've thought, you know, it would be a good thing to record on similar reasons for what Councillor Christensen's outlined in terms of tracking the volume of work we do and the information flow. But if I'm really honest, I'm also concerned about how that information, those discussions might be used in the future. And my concern is whether that would be used against councillors through an FIO process, or, you know, if they change their position. So you might say something 6 months, and 6 months later you've changed your mind. And I'd hate to be in a position where that information is then FOI'd or is then used against me or against the councillors in a way that would may represent an attack, a personal attack. So I think there's some maturity that has to sort of be given. I also think that it possibly will stifle some very frank discussion, both between the councillors and possibly for Town of Port Hedland staff. So they're my concerns. I think the first motion in terms of what's proposed as the officer's recommendation in terms of an outcomes and actions document, I think that does help council. I think that does help keep track of what is discussed and what the commitments are made towards actions. And I think that would would satisfy those concerns or issues around transparency and accountability. So, so I don't support the attachment 2. They're my reasons. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Anyone else for? Yes, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Turner, for your frank assessment there. I can't disagree with a lot of what you're saying, but I am supportive of the fact that we, as Councillor Christensen said, there's an awful lot of work involved in being a councillor. It's not just turn up once a month or twice a month for the briefing session before the meeting and carry on. We are currently looking at meeting twice a week for the last month anyway, but there are some times when councillors cannot make the meetings for one reason or another. Case in point, as Councillor Keller said earlier, he couldn't attend the previous meeting. However, if we do have these recordings on hand, it is available, including briefing sessions. Now, with respect to the confidentiality of some presentations, there obviously needs to be some guidelines set behind proprietary information being released and recorded, which I can totally understand. But taking that into account, the fact that if we are able to provide a recorded documentation of what was said in a briefing session for the councillors to then go back and evaluate and assess before coming back to a council meeting once a month to make a decision on that information, I think it can only benefit the elected members. And as I said at the last meeting, I asked the Mayor, and I'm now asking the councillors, that we need to show transparency to the community as well.
Thank you, Councillor. Anyone else for? Sorry, against, sorry. Councillor Wilkie.
Thank you to the councillors and Chair. I'm against this recording of things. I've had lots of thoughts about this. I like the idea of being able to go back and listen to our own meetings, but I am very concerned that when we come to these briefings, we deliberate, we argue, we discuss, we spitball, we you know, sometimes play devil's advocate, and these things can be taken out of context and can cause misrepresentation. None of our briefings are decision-making forums, and while I have no issue being transparent, and in fact, you know, anybody that approaches me, I've always told them, you know, hold me accountable. I kind of prefer that because it stops me from doing the wrong thing or makes it more difficult for me to do the wrong thing. I have, not in this forum specifically, been exposed to bullying by the public. And again, I'm not saying that that's the intended outcome, but once bitten, twice shy. So that could be levelled against councillors, that could be levelled against staff, and people can actually be victimised based on their point of view or the submissions that they've made. The councillors' recommendation puts forward an outcomes and actions document, which removes personal opinion, thoughts, comments, and you know the person who's made those points. But it shows what needs to be done, and I think it's a factual representation of what's been discussed. It takes out the emotion, takes out identifiers, and as such, I think that will suffice in being able to go back and check out what has been discussed in the forums. I agree that when we come to the OCMs, we only get one turn at arguing, and I think that if we record everything, as Councillor Turner said, then that'll stifle the backwards and forwards that I personally enjoy. Getting other people's points of view and injecting that from the community has been very, very helpful, and has often changed my stand on where I stand on different motions. So in my opinion, I prefer it not to be recorded, and I would support the outcomes and actions version of this policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Zocchi. Anyone else for? Anyone else against? Yes.
Thank you all, councillors. Just echoing on pretty much on what everyone has said, I've also been torn between both. attachment, but what I've settled on is basically as well that we've got to take in consideration the likelihood that if we are to record all the meetings, it might reduce our capacity with external engagement with possible business moving forward. And I think Councillor Eckhard touched on it, but I think it's a risk, and I don't think we've put anything in place for that as yet. But also, going on from what Councillor Zielke has said, I think it opens up more risks than actual assistance to ourselves. So, therefore, I'll be voting against.
Thank you, Councillor Bennett. Anyone else for? Anyone else against? Councillor Gillingham, sum up, please.
Yes, thank you. Firstly, I'd like to say that the public agenda briefings which Council used to have the week before the actual agenda of the Ordinary Council meeting was a public agenda briefing. And everything that was said in that public agenda briefing and questions asked by the public at that briefing meeting was open and transparent, but no decisions made because it was just a briefing. And a lot of the public used to come, and then those public would also come back at the Ordinary Council meeting because they'd had a little bit of feedback, they'd been able to talk quite open, quite freely, ask questions quite freely, not get shut down or anything like that, and that was a really good way. That then ceased several years ago, and it just then went to a council briefings that we had. Not once have I mentioned in this recommendation that we streamline a briefing. I have not mentioned that at all. I can understand that we streamline the Ordinary Council meeting because that's your public meeting, that's your open, that's your transparent, we're accountable. We're all accountable around this table to be transparent. But I have not mentioned in the recommendation to record to stream it. We can record it. We can streamline this now, but we're not necessarily going to record to streamline for the public a briefing, because yes, we do talk about a lot of things. We do not actually speak, we do not make any decisions at a briefing. Yes, we sometimes talk, we chat and things like that, might have a bit of a laugh as well about different things, but we sort of get to the bottom of things because what is in the briefings is very important. But there are other briefings which are not decision making. And if there's a section, I believe that if you're going to have a briefing where you have somebody come and do a presentation, it's more than likely that that part of the presentation is not streamlined because it's confidential. They're confidential briefings that we have. So we can't streamline confidential things. So I just don't think people are thinking outside the box here when I've just moved this alternate recommendation that we just want to have a recording because there's a lot of things that we need to talk about, but a lot of things that we would like to go back to, and we don't have it. If there was somebody note-taking and giving us all the points, and that's not happening anymore. There used to be a note-taker. There used to be a minute-taker. That doesn't happen these days anymore. Everything is recorded. So I'm just saying that, open, being accountable. So I'm not saying streamline confidential briefings, because you wouldn't do that. We'd be leaving ourselves wide open, and yes, we could have people come back to us. But even just sitting here today in an Ordinary Council meeting, which is being streamlined, anybody can come back at us and say, why didn't we speak up about this? Why did we move a motion about that? Get that all the time. You can but try to be a councillor. There's a lot of training that goes in to try and get it right, and sometimes we still don't get it right. Not saying that we get it wrong, but sometimes there can be a better way. So all I'm saying is to move an alternate recommendation to include the recording of all meetings of council, which includes the Ordinary Council meeting and our briefing meetings, which are, maybe I should have said confidential briefing meetings. Maybe I've forgotten to put the word confidential, and if that's the case, then I would like to make an amendment and put that word confidential in, because that's obviously very, very important. So really, that's all I have to say, and thank you for everybody for your information around the table, because I'm sure it's been helpful to our public today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gillingham. Okay, all those in favour? The two motion, yeah. 3. Was against? 5. 3. Lost.
We've got the officer's recommendation that hasn't been dealt with.
Point of order. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. That motion is now lost, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
So now we deal with the officer's recommendation. Nope.
Point of order through the chair. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, happy to go back on the video and reverse, but I did ask the question, are we talking through an amendment or are we talking through the a substantial motion? And it was told to me it is a substantial motion and that was the motion, correct? So therefore it's lost. We move on to the next next item of business, correct? Happy to be corrected.
The officer recommendation was not foreshadowed, so you're correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, 12.1.2, the adoption of the 2023-24 annual budget rating strategy, including schedules, fees and charges. We have officer's recommendation before us that council adopts the 2023-24 annual budget and rating strategy, including schedule, fees and charges for parts A to H as outlined.
Through the chair, I'd like to move an alternate recommendation for Part A of the general and minimum rates. Thank you.
Okay, what are those, councillor?
Yes, I would like to amend the officer's recommendation to reduce the GRV, the general rates, by 1 cent on each category. This reduction will ensure that the budget will not need to go to the Minister for approval. Thank you.
Second on that? That's I don't. Can you explain that a bit more, please, councillor?
Yes, as it says, it's imposing the following differential rates. I would like to amend the officer's recommendation to reduce the GRV general rates by 1 cent on each category. This reduction will ensure that the budget will not need to go to the Minister for approval.
Just for clarification purposes, at the moment, councillor, the budget doesn't need to go to the Minister for approval at this point in time.
I'm through the chair, I'm just clarifying only that it would not need to go to the Minister. It's quite possible that other items within this agenda will possibly may need to go to the Minister if some of the points are not clarified correctly.
Yeah.
Second, the adoption of the officer recommendation first. Take it as a foreshadowed motion.
Okay. Okay, I'll take that as a foreshadowed motion, councillor.
Through the chair, excuse me, Mayor Carter, are we going through, are we doing all parts en bloc, or are we going to do them individually?
The council, the motions to do the whole lot as one.
Point of order through the chair. I will not be, I'm not happy with that, we have discussed this and it has been, it was put to us that we had the option to go through each part of the agenda individually, as it's such an important agenda item.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So the option is we have the option to speak to each item as you go for each item as well, okay?
Yes, I'd like to move each item separately. Thank you. I'd like to move that we move each item separately. Thank you. So that is discussion on each part of the agenda item.
I would like to have it as one item first up. Thank you.
I'd like to move that we have this agenda item with all its sections and vote on each section as it is presented in the agenda.
In the agenda, is parts A to H as outlined in the minutes of the agenda. It's one recommendation.
I would like to move that each one is looked into and spoken about separately. Thank you. I'm not happy with what is being decided, and I was not notified that that was going to happen today.
It's in the agenda as one item.
We had discussed this at a confidential briefing, and there was a consensus around the table, Mayor, and you were part of that meeting.
Correct.
Yes, you were. So why has this suddenly changed without clarification? And
Every section can be discussed.
Your Worship, may I have a quiet word? Each in the agenda that I've got in front of me lists each part separately for a separate vote. So not en bloc. It's each section A through H, is there for a vote.
On page 17, at the top of the page.
Well, I'm looking at the agenda that I received.
Yes, I have one in front of me, yep.
Yep, and it says 12.1.2, adoption of 23.24.
We can discuss every item, but we're going to approve the item as they are, A to H.
Well, that's not what's in my agenda on my page here. And nor does it appear on the screen.
Just for clarification purposes, Councillor, I think the only differentiation on each of the parts is that we've indicated where something requires an absolute or a simple majority. But the way the report is written, it was written as one recommendation with 8 parts. Given the confusion.
Yeah, of course.
Deal with them all one by one. And maybe just let people know.
Okay. So Councillor Gillingham, we're going to go through each item one by one for you, okay?
Thank you. I did move for that to happen.
So part A, your minimum rates, you want to move a motion to drop 1 cent, is it you're saying?
The 1 cent, yes.
Want to seek a mover for the officer recommendation?
Yeah, we'll go, yes, we'll go. Okay. All right, can we get a move officer recommendation to start with, please?
Can we get some clarification on what officer recommendation you're wanting, please? Because we're just having 2 conversations here about moving a report. So are we going to remove it as a whole report?
We'll move it as a whole before, but discuss each item.
No.
With all due respect, you can't do that, Mr. Mayor. Again, if you have a motion, we can only debate once on a motion. So please get some clarification.
Confusion over the way
it reads.
Apologies, councillors. Given the confusion raised by Councillor Eckert in terms of the way the report's written, I think it's probably preferable, Mr. Mayor, that each part be dealt with as a separate motion and move and start with part A and work through the document.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. All right, part A. Let's go to part A first. The general and minimum rates. 1, the council imposes the following differential rates for minimum payment for land rate gross rental value of unimproved value to the 2023-24 financial year as displayed on the screen. And 2, endorses the 23-24 statement objects of reason as per attachment 1. Can I have a mover for that, please?
So I'd like to move an alternate recommendation for this item to reduce the general rates by 1 cent on each category. This reduction will ensure that the budget will not need to go to the Minister for approval.
Okay. Okay. Take that as a foreshadow motion. I'm going to deal with the officer recommendation first that Councillor Turner has just moved. Thank you.
Through the chair, point of order, through the chair, I'm moving an alternate recommendation.
We're going to come back to that. Thank you, Councillor. Okay, we're going to move the... Councillor Turner has already moved it. Thank you.
Point of order. Okay, so can we get this back on track, please? Councillor Gillingham had the microphone. There was no movement of the motion until Councillor Gillingham has started. So I hadn't heard anything started. You had allowed Councillor Gillingham to talk.
Of course, correct. Yes.
So by respect, can we please go back to some standing orders? Unless you rule otherwise, the microphone was with Councillor Gillingham. She spoke through. You allowed her to speak, and then you decided to change it after the fact. Can we please go back to having some decorum into what we are doing here, please? Because with all due respect, I don't think we just did that right now. In my opinion, I'm happy to be corrected, but if you're going to stick with that decision,
okay.
I will
All right,
move a
okay.
procedural motion that
All
you
right.
disagree.
Is there a second on Councillor?
So we're wanting a seconder for reducing the GRV across the 3 categories by 1 cent.
That's what Councillor does, yes. Okay, there's no second. Motion is lost. Thank you, Councillor Gillingham. So So we'll now deal with the... Yeah, second for Councillor Turners, yes. Okay, I've got the second for Councillor Turners. Councillor Bennett is the seconder. Okay, anyone against? Councillor Gillingham. Okay, it was for. Councillor Gillingham. Oh, sorry, Turner. Yeah, sorry, Councillor Turner. Yeah.
Through the chair, thank you. I propose that this motion is passed. I think congratulations to the Town of Port Hedland administration in producing the budget. This should really be seen as a good news story, though when you're sitting in the chamber talking about budgets and rates, it's often a hard sell. But what we've got here in this budget is a reduction in the GRV for residentials and a reduction for small business and commercial. What you've seen here is in this year the GRV residential has gone down to 0.067, which will mean that average rates will be about $105 less than last year. We haven't had strong comments from the public. We've only had 3 comments. One from mining to residential. So there hasn't been overly strong feedback, which suggests that the public, I say supports, but certainly hasn't raised significant opposition. What you're seeing is that we are increasing the rateable income. And what this council's been able to do is to really place the emphasis on the budget towards mining, large accommodation and pastoral. So I think if you look at what we've done, we're proposing 3.5%, and if you compare that to what are the inflationary costs that are impacting the whole community, that's at about 6 or 7%. You look at our EBA, which sits at about 4%. What we've got here, 3.5%, is a very considered budget, one that's sensitive to the community and certainly to our residences. The 3.5% is aligned with our long-term financial plan, and that is built in over a 15-year period. So I think it's a strong budget. I think it's a fair budget, and that's why I'm proposing this is moved. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Councillor Bennett.
Not too much more to add on to Councillor Turner's, other than it's important to move this budget, because if we don't, we'll be halting everything, from allowing the admin to do what they need to do in order to continue providing the services and whatnot. Also, just to point out, if we do not pass this budget, we'll be halting things like the pool repair, which we had 2 people here tonight ask for that to be done on time. So I think it's highly important, and we do need to get it passed. And there's always room afterwards to discuss it further and make amendments where it's required. It's a work in progress, but I think what has been presented to us is, like Councillor Turner has said, a strong budget to move forward with and work with.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Bennett. Anyone against? Councillor Gillian? No? Okay.
I thought I'd already spoken, actually.
So, okay.
Is it the, I don't have a right of reply, so.
Sorry.
Right, thank you.
Yep.
Yes, good.
Yep.
I've just noticed that the Geraldton Shire Council, or the Geraldton Greenough, which is now Geraldton, Greater Geraldton, they're such a massive area, and they don't have as many, that their budget is just a lot different, how they organise it down there. Not too sure, but the rates, everything down there is a little bit less than what we are doing here. I'm just trying to speak for the people in our town who are hurting really bad, and just by trying to drop that rate in the dollar by 1 cent, I just thought would be something which everybody around the table would have considered. We have not had a lot of time as councillors to go through everything with the budget. We have had budget meetings, we've had briefings, we've had confidential briefings, but to get your head around everything is still a long way to go. I feel as if it's being rushed, that we needed to discuss it a little bit more. That's my feelings, and I would have liked to have tried to help people in our town a little bit more to not have had a 3.5% increase, and that it would be less. When we're moving money over the budget to move it over to next year, in the form of about $20-odd million, one would think that there is some way that we could give something back to the community. Something that we could give something back to the community, especially when last year it was moving $10 million, moving it on. And this is just something that I'm just passionate about. I've always spoken against the rise in the rates. This is just something that I'm just very passionate about. Yes, I speak up about it. No, maybe it was be around a table, but we also have one person away, one councillor away, and really I would have preferred as well that this whole budget item had come to a special council meeting where things could have been discussed without all the kerfuffle that we had tonight. So it's just that I'm passionate about that, and that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Gillingham. Anyone else for? Anyone else against? Councillor for? Yep.
Thanks everyone again for the talks. While I respectfully disagree with yourself, Councillor Gillingham, I do echo some of your sentiments. I think we're all here as councillors to do the best for the town as we can. I think if we could put forward a zero rate change, I think we would, if we could. Unfortunately, we don't live in a free world, so the town, and along with us, has made some very big commitments through our long-term financial plan. Unfortunately, for us to be able to pay the piper, we have to stick to a regime that we've selected for that time frame. So, although yes, it is an increase, I still think 3.5% is an acceptable an amount considering times and conditions that we live in today. I will say a few things. I'm concerned again that we come back to the conversation where there's been a few things echoed today, and not just this debate and previous debates, where we can go back and we can revisit. I disagree that we should be at this stage, at this late time in the journey, and we sit there and say, well, even if we aren't unhappy, let's put it through and we can make some changes at a later date. That should be alarm bells straight away. So I'll suggest and ask councillors again, thanks for the debate, but let's really have a look at what we say before we say it, because the biggest concern I've got again is that we want to be instilling some confidence in our ratepayers. This is a good deal, in my opinion, for the ratepayers, because this is going to instill and ensure we get money going forward all the way through the budget for the next 15 years of the $600 million that we've committed through the LTFP to make sure we get to the end roads. I think it's critical that we don't want to be seeing the highs and the lows. I'd hate to see, if we put to 2 to 3, 1% this year, that we start charging the 7% and 8% that we are starting to see around Australia. So, yeah, confident that this is the right amount. I believe we've had ample time to have a conversation and put it forward. And again, I'll draw some to the councillors. If you wish to move to special meetings, we had the availability leading into this. So unfortunately, at the time it wasn't taken. We haven't used it. So this is where we're at, and I'm confident that what we are presented by the officer's recommendation is going to sit the town in good stead moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Christensen. Anyone else against? Anyone else for? You'd like to sum up, Councillor Turner?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Christensen, for your comments. I think I'm mindful that in many of our discussions previously in other OCMs, we've made a particular point not to make a comparison with other councils. So that's an interesting comparison, but certainly aware that rates across other jurisdictions are climbing and climbing significantly. This council has taken a decision not to do that, and given the inflationary pressures that are placed on our economy, and particularly in our region, there could have been a strong argument to push for a higher rate. That hasn't happened. The other point that needs to be understood is that this council, this is the second year in a row now where we have reduced the GRV for residentials. So we are working towards supporting and being sensitive to the cost pressures that are placed on families, that are placed on business, and we are asking for the mining sector and other sectors such as pastoral to step in, and as a council we're asking them to pay their ways. So I think, as I said earlier, this is a strong budget. I'd like to thank the administration because they have bent over backwards to make themselves available to prepare the documentation, and they've made themselves available to councillors to go through the budgets in detail. So I would like to thank them for that. So I don't think there's really too much to say. I think it's a strong budget, it's a fair budget, and I propose we put it to a vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Okay, all those in favour? 7 is against. 7-1. Motion is carried. Part B, concessions and exemptions. The council grant the following exemption in concessions. Rate concession totalling $208,406 and rate exemption totalling $6,759. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Zilke. Can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Turner. Is anyone against that motion? No, motion's carried. Part C, instalment payment arrangements. The council nominates the due rates payments of rates paid in full and instalments, and 2, the owners who elect to pay instalments adopt an initial instalment administration charge of 0 and an instalment charge of $14 per each instalment after initial instalment has been paid, excluding eligible pensioners and seniors, and 3, adopt an interest rate of 5.5% per annum, where the owner has elected to pay rates and service charges through instalment options, excluding eligible pensioners and seniors. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Zilke. Thank you, Councillor Zilke. A seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Gillingham. Is anyone against that motion? Motion's carried 8-0. Thank you, councillors. Move on to Part D, concessions and exceptions. The council adopts an interest rate of 7% per annum for rates and services charged and on-cost proceedings to recover such charges remaining unpaid longer than 35 days after the due date, excluding eligible pensioners and seniors. And 2, adopts an interest rate of 7% per annum on all sundry debtors' charges and remain unpaid longer than 35 days after the due date. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Zilke. Another seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Bennett. Is anyone against the motion? Motion is carried. Absolutely. Thank you. 8-0. Thank you, councillors. Part E, elected members' fees and allowances for 2023/2024. The council 1, adopts annual fees and payments for elected members in lieu of individual meetings and attendance fees. 2, adopts an information technology allowance of $3,500 for elected members. 3, adopts a local government allowance of $93,375 to be paid in addition to an annual meeting allowance for the mayor. And 4, adopt a local government allowance of $23,345 to be paid in additional to annual allowance fee for the deputy mayor. May I have a mover, please?
So moved.
Move. Thank you, Councillor Turner. A seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Zilke.
Through the chair, I wish to foreshadow a motion as well, please. So I'll foreshadow an amendment, please.
Yes. What was the amendment?
Okay, give me 2 secs. I'll give you the figures if you want. So I wish to make amendments to the figures provided within the section 3. I'll request that it goes down to $69,350, and in turn, due to the changes of the section 3, section 4 will be changed as per the 25% as assigned by the stat. Please and thank you.
Just quote those numbers again, please, Councillor.
So section 3, I'll request it go down to 69,350. And then the 25% that's allocated through the SAT, which I believe would be to the value of, I'm assuming, $17,337.50 or thereabouts.
Can I get a second on that? Anyone against?
Can I just clarify, Councillor? You said you were foreshadowing, and then you said it was an amendment. So do you want to move the amendment as part of the current debate, or are you waiting to foreshadow it afterwards?
I was just hoping that we go through the debate, but I'm happy to move it as an amendment then.
Move it as an amendment.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is anyone against the amendment? So go to 2. Okay. Councillor Christensen.
Rightio. Interesting timing with fellow members of the community coming in and saying something similar. I think it's about time we start to hold ourselves to account before we do much more. Having understanding of this payment and this fee. So this fee is again a fee for services rendered to the town to help cover expenses, etc., etc. I still think that if we are to assign dollar values to SAT level decisions, that is giving us a range. Now it's up to us as council to decide on between the range what we think is amicable for services rendered. Now I'm going to try and speak as nicely as I can here. Over the last couple of months, we've actually made some changes to some policies, some procedures, which makes our life on council a lot easier, aka now we can dial in from home a lot more now, and we can do things like that. These sort of itemised things are never taken into consideration when we talk through allowing some determinations on our figures and what we get paid. So we always sit here at the last conversation we had when we spoke about the fees and we spoke about how much fuel's going up, how much all this is changing, and yet I've never heard us debate about things that we are putting into place which takes away the expenses that we have to pay. We are getting looked after by the administration with printings and things like that that would normally be requested for ourselves to go and do. So it's less expenses that we have to worry about. And I think then from back on that, this will be a strong and solid indication from us as council to sit there and say that we are not delivering for the people of this town as a combined. And unfortunately, Mr. Mayor, the reason I'm focusing on this is because I believe, and this meeting is a key example of this, that you are failing in your positions in the basic instincts of what you should be doing, which is presiding over a meeting first and foremost. I can sit here and I can list to you what we are taught and what we are trained that our jobs are to do, and my opinion is you are not meeting the level of meeting 100% and all these levels, which 100% STI, in my opinion, would value to. If you were demonstrating behaviours, ethics, and also outcomes for this town that would rival any other town, then by all means I would sit here and I'll support anyone getting 100% of what they do. So for that, I'll leave my statement there and I'll allow for other councillors to step up and have their say. Thank you.
Councillor Urquhart.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just echoing what Councillor Christensen said, and as he said, by coincidence, there's been some comment from the floor, from the gallery this evening. I mentioned at the last meeting that I was requesting that the Mayor be more accountable, should show more leadership and more transparency to the community and to this particular council. I think the 93,375 as listed initially by motion here is way too high for the amount of effort, in inverted commas, that we see from the Mayor in representing this town. Apologies to the Deputy, however, but if we're going to reduce the Mayor's, by default, the Deputy Mayor's extra allowance, local government allowance needs to come down as well. One can't move without the other. So I strongly suggest that 93,375 is way over the odds, and the amended amount as appearing on the screen now of 69,350 is a much truer reflection of the value that this council puts on the work rate of the Mayor and by extension the Deputy Mayor. It doesn't mean that in the future, if there has been a definite display of improvement and through both accountability, transparency and leadership, that this can't be revisited in the 23-24 budget with the SHA allowance. So I strongly support this motion put up by Councillor Christensen.
Thank you, Councillor Urquhart. Those against? Councillor Turner.
Okay. Just need to gather my thoughts. This in no way has been canvassed with myself, and I was unaware of this discussion or this move. Interestingly, it coincides with a public sentiment, but certainly it has not been part of our deliberations in concerning the budget or concerning the remuneration through the SAT. SAT is essentially an administrative function. They make a recommendation per annum. So I would be supportive of this. My concern is that the Mayor has been targeted for a reduction. By association and just by the process, that means the Deputy would also get a reduction. But what it doesn't do, you haven't addressed or yet to address the performance of other councillors. So you have disadvantaged, potentially, if this motion was successful, the Mayor would be disadvantaged, and by administrative process, the Deputy Mayor then becomes, when that has, there's been no process other than this motion to put forward. So I think it's extremely unfair. When we're talking about performance, then I think you have to articulate more precisely how both the Mayor and myself have not performed. You know, I acknowledge the points you've made, Councillor Christensen, but there are other facets to the performance, and those include attendance at OCMs, attendance at briefings, the meeting requirements. If there's been dissatisfaction about the performance of the Mayor, then it's incumbent on councillors themselves to address it with him, and if appropriate, to initiate disciplinary action or corrective action. You know, I've actually already done that in regards to past behaviours. So I have breached the Mayor in relation to the school incident at the time, and that was upheld. And so, but I'm not aware anybody else has done that. And I have any number of times had very frank and robust conversations with the Mayor. But coming back to the point, then I think this is unfairly targeting both the Mayor and myself. It's actually a bit of a blindside, you know, if we're really honest. This is a blindside. It has not been raised previously, has not been part of the discussions, and was not raised in either the briefings or confidential briefings. So that's why I'm opposed to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Anyone else for? Councillor Gillingham.
Yes, thank you. as councillors, we as councillors do not receive the extra allowance. Not that I would want to. And there are many, or shall I say a few councillors around the table who actually, with their sitting fees which they receive, do actually donate it back into the community in many different ways. So to receive the allowance anyway, it's not a wage that the councillors receive. It's not a wage, it's a sitting fee for being a councillor to the community 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. And I can honestly say my phone never stops ringing. In fact, today it has just been horrendous with this particular section E from the public. And we've heard it tonight from the community as well. But points on the Mayor's performance has just grown and grown and grown, and we've had many, many other newspaper articles. Points on the Mayor's performance. The most important point is that the general public is clearly unimpressed and showed that by coming to council meetings and demanding, firstly, the Mayor's resignation. The failure to get support from the Mayor on the collapse of MJW Building Company and
Excuse me, Councillor, that was... Excuse me.
Yes, Mayor?
You continue, but...
Yes? Okay, thank you. Yes, so the collapse of MJW and Mighty Construction cost ratepayers millions of dollars. A special meeting was called to try and rectify that for the community, but it was voted down. The failure to get the Mayor's support for financial audit when it was clear that anyone asking financial questions, that our Mayor, you could not answer the questions on the budget. The Australian newspaper article stated the Mayor's involvement in developing business deals worth hundreds of millions of dollars with government funding backing. The newspaper article that stated the Mayor told a member of our community to go kill herself. That's public. When the Mayor filed a court action, etc., and we all know how that actually panned out. But I'm happy to say that that person actually got acquittal. The disgusting behaviour with the Mayor while representing the town of Port Hedland at the high school board meeting, which was public and resulted in his resignation and subsequent apology to the community for his actions. The ongoing and continuous refusal to answer any questions at council meeting. The latest Australian newspaper article suggests the Mayor is building a multitude of houses in Vietnam and has government support, which he has actually said at council meetings, although he says they haven't been built yet. Multiple members of the council have asked direct questions directly and by email in relation to Vietnam housing deals, but we have yet to get any explanation. We need housing, so we'd love an explanation. The Mayor has admitted too in our council meeting that the business card Source Connect is a legitimate business card and that he can prove it, but has failed to follow up on the pledge. Moving forward, the embarrassment that will continue for the town of Port Hedland because of the Mayor's admission of a financial interest in the Source Connect matter, but he continues to rule questions and statements as inappropriate and strike from the public record. The minutes and live stream of meetings are being redacted, which is extraordinary, and I don't think it has ever been done previously. The Education Department must have a far higher standard of public participation than the town of Port Hedland, and the Mayor himself, because they refused to tolerate the Mayor's behaviour and acted forthwith, demanding his removal. I thought we would have seen a representative body that's outshone all other standards of practice. Based on what I have said and acknowledging we as a council members are powerless to do anything of substance that holds our fellow members accountable and above reproach. I remind all members that the standard that we ignore is a standard that we accept. I am proposing that we reduce the mayoral allowance, but it's already been actually moved. And I thank Councillor Christian for actually speaking about this. This action has been requested by multiple community members to reduce the mayoral allowance to the minimum, and I agree we should not reward substandard, outright disgusting behaviour by agreeing to the maximum remuneration of the mayor's allowance. So I ask fellow councillors to support this recommendation across the table. And I thank the public today for coming today and having their say and saying what they feel, because they're our community and we need to be for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gallagher. Anyone against? Yes, Councillor Silky.
This is an incredibly hot potato. I sort of been backwards and forwards. I'm one of the councillors that donates their sitting fee because I did this. I joined council because I wanted to make a difference. I know that most, if not all, councillors here have or are of the same opinion. But I've been drawn attention to our code of conduct, and section 18 says that we are not to secure personal advantage or disadvantaging others. So a council member must not make improper use of their office to gain directly or indirectly an advantage for the council member or any person, or cause detriment to the local government or any person. There's been a lot of effort on behalf that we, as we've been challenged by the gallery, to lift our game, to follow our rules that we have. Particular former mayor Blanco makes sure that we, or keeps reminding us that we need to do so. So taking that in mind, these fees and allowances are allocated by the state government. It's not something that we pat ourselves on the back for doing a good job. And despite all the newspaper articles, Councillor Gillingham, I disagree that they're 100% factual. I think they've got more loopholes in them than you drive a truck through, but that's my opinion. I'm going to vote against this based on following our rules, not because I disagree with what's been said about the mayor or his conduct. We have certainly been speaking to him. I myself have done the same thing as Deputy Mayor Turner, but I believe there's processes in place that deal with the scenario. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Silky. Anyone else against? 4, sorry. Anyone else against? Yes, Councillor Bennett.
Thank you, everyone. Whilst I also agree with what's been said here tonight about the mayor, with, I guess, referencing to the lack of leadership and direction we don't receive, I don't agree with the fact that the deputy mayor is also taking a hit with the reduction. And this is just my view. Deputy Turner goes above and beyond. I think he plays his role very well. He's out there engaging with the community. He represents us very well, and if anything, I think he's pretty much the voice for us councillors majority of the time. So just for that, I think I'll be voting against. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bennett. Okay. Anyone else for? It's against? No, come up. Councillor.
Rightio. Much to what you said, it is a very hot potato, so I will tread carefully. But I will draw councillors to the oath that we swear, and we swear the oath to the people of this town, and we swear the oath to the ratepayers of this town. Now, I don't apologise for bringing up a subject like this. I think this is an example of how we can show the community that we can actually have these hard, frank conversations in this forum and do it respectfully. In no way world, I'm going to talk through some issues and some things that were brought up that I'm strongly against some of the wording that's been used. So to sit here and suggest that this is a targeting to start with needs to be having a good look at. Unfortunately, I don't choose who sits in the chair at what position. I don't choose who is in these positions. It is directed here, and it says very clearly here, it does not say Mayor Peter Carter, it says Mayor. And I can only discuss and talk on the items in which is brought forward to us. And right now, I look at it on a holistic point of view of, yes, it's disappointing and unfortunate that somebody like a deputy mayor will receive a disallowance, but that is a reflection of the, in my opinion, on the surface being presented by a mayoral position. So it's not a deputy mayor job because that's a standalone job. The deputy mayor is there instead of the mayor in their absence, etc., etc. I will second and echo what you've said, as I do agree that, yes, Councillor Turner, you do above and beyond and you do outstanding work in the community. There's no doubt about it. That's why you got the votes you did when you come in here. That's why you speak so well. I'm not trying to sit there and suggest that these figures are in any way a representation of everyone on council, but unfortunately to say, if the position says this is what we decided on, we decided on that. Other points that have been discussed here is the SAT. Now, I'll give you some indication. The SAT does not set us a figure. The SAT will come through and give us a range of what they feel is acceptable from one point to another point. Now, I don't know if those of you have gone through and had a look at that range for this year. It's a big range for a band 1. Don't know if any of you guys have gone further forward and seen how many band 1s we've had. We've got 13 band 1s in Western Australia. Now, I think, in my opinion, this is why it's come about. Everyone seems to think this is an attack, this is a go at it. In no way, shape or form am I saying that the mayor is not doing anything right. In no way, shape or form, I'm going to make it very clear and have that said very clearly. However, we are making a decision on the allowable amount of the band that's provided. He has done some good work, and I've made a whole list here, and I'm happy for some people to come and FOI if they wish to, because FOI seems to be the conversation of the day. Happy to come and see my notes. Highlights things here, again, goes above and beyond when we hold our citizenship ceremonies. It's always there, speaks very well, does present really well. That's great. So that's why we're not assigning a 0% from what the SAT has suggested. I'm saying mid-range, if you do the calculation, this is mid-range. I'm saying we are kicking some goals in some areas from a mayoral position. There are some things that we can pick up, there's some things that we can do better, and I believe we can, and it's okay to do that. Again, touch back on the fact that we are now reducing the costs associated with this position. Again, everything we do in the administration come to help us. They never say no to us, as far as I'm aware, that they're always willing to go above and beyond. And everything, they usually go more further than what they should by the rules and regulations. So again, the fact that we're sitting here saying that this is targeted, it's not. And if you feel that way, I do apologise. But again, I'm not going to apologise for bringing this up, because these are the conversations that need to be had, that need to be said. And in my opinion, this is a very acceptable amount of money, as per Councillor Eckhart has said, for the output that we're getting and for the situation that we are currently residing in. So again, look forward to see what the votes come, and with the next debate we'll render as well.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Christensen. Okay, all those in favour? Okay, all those against? Four, five, three. Lost. Thank you. Thank you, councillors.
The officer recommendation.
Yep.
Councillor Turner was the mover. Councillor Zucchi.
That's it.
We need to find out if anyone's against.
Yep. Part F.
Sorry?
You want part F?
No. We need to go back to part E and complete part E.
Oh, part E, complete. Okay. All right. Sorry. Move it in a second. Yep. Okay. So part E, we have a mover, Councillor Turner and Councillor Zucchi. Is anyone against that motion? Councillor Gillingham? Yep. Yeah. We will. Yeah.
Through Chair, thank you. So I support the officer's recommendation. I believe that the remuneration is consistent with both the recommendation and the performance of the position. I think the council has done extremely well in the last 12 months in terms of completion of projects. I do acknowledge the concerns that have been raised. but I just, you know, as I've mentioned before, this had not been canvassed previously, and so I support the proposal that's put before us. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Turner. Councillor Silky.
I don't have much more to add. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You're against?
Yeah, through the chair. Whilst disappointing the amendment didn't get up, I still I respect the decision. That's fine. We'll move on with this substantive motion now. I just want to know that I don't support this. I think that whilst the sitting fees and the ICT allowance, that's fine. I just can't find it in my heart to support the extra allowances for the mayor and by extension the deputy.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Silky. Urquhart, sorry. Anyone else for? Anyone else against? Yes, Councillor Gillingham.
Yes, so just looking at the amounts of the minimum fee is on top of what the mayor allowance is actually getting. Mayor allowance is 49,435, plus then you have a minimum on top of that of the also the minimum rate is 53,330, maximum 93,380, which has just been or 375 as it's just been put on the board there. I'm looking at the fees here from April, so all right, it's been an increase. The amended motion that has just lost would have still given presiding member $118,785. It is which is a massive amount. And I can honestly say that previous mayors that I've had the opportunity to be part of council of have actually dropped their fees by half without this even coming to a public meeting, and they actually dropped their fees because they felt as if they wanted to give something back to the community, that they felt as if they didn't need all that extra money because they had businesses or they were in jobs, etc., etc. So this just makes me feel as if it would have been just incredible tonight in this budget meeting, which is the biggest thing we as councillors vote on for the whole of the year. It's the biggest item because it's for the next 12 months. And we know that there has to be money to move forward. This is ratepayers' money. We're receiving for, and when we're giving back in the community and donating back into the community in many ways, you don't see that. That's behind the scene. It would be wonderful if a presiding member would say, look, I'm going to not take all those fees. I'm going to take half the fee, or etc., etc., because that would then show true leadership and giving back to the community. So even this amount now, there is still time to be able to do that. And it's just incredible that, yes, we had to bring it to the table now, or it has been brought to the table, and to vote on it. But vote on it honestly, because the amount of time which mayors in the past have actually spent to be a full-time mayor in our town, I really don't feel that the fee, the allowances given at the moment on the board, does not warrant having it to a part-time mayor. And that's the way I feel, that's where a lot of people feel, and that's where a lot of people have presented to myself and through the town. That's why a lot of people are here at the council meeting tonight. I'm sure if it hadn't been so cold, we would have had a lot more people as well. But there you go. There's a lot of people listening out there, and I'm just hoping that our mayor would look at this and say, I don't need all that. I want to give some back to the community. I want to donate back to the community. That's how it should really work. We're giving back to the community, because many around this table already do that. Yes, it's set by the tribunal, but like it says, the minimum is $53,330. That's the minimum. It's the councillors, according to the Act, that set the fee for a mayor. Doesn't matter who the presiding member is, it's for the mayor. Yes, unfortunately, the deputy mayor has got to take a drop there, but it's giving back to the community. You know, when I first went on council in 2005, the councillor fee was $7,000 a year. And I thought that was really big. And it was fantastic. When the new things came, when the new amounts came in, it was like, whoa, can't receive all this, I have to give it back to the community in some way. And that's what you do. Still pay tax on it. Still have to pay tax. All right, we still have to pay tax on it. And you can do your homework on how much tax you have to pay on those, right? But it would be nice to think that the amount could be a lesser amount that the mayor would decide to take, or our presiding member would like to take. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Gillingham. Anyone else for? I'll let you vote for. Thank you, Councillor Gillingham, for your words. I think a lot of the councillors and the audience would not recognise and not realise that the amount of money I spend on buying food for young children in the shopping centre on a weekend at McDonald's or Chicken Treat, you'd be amazing on how much food and money I spend on our community, okay? All the time, day in, day out. The kids that come to my shop and ask for money to buy food, I think you'd be amazed. Thank you.
Thank you through the chair, and thank you again for everyone's debate on a touchy and hard-hitting subject. Again, I want to draw reference back to where we need to get back to the debate. It's not on the individual, it's on a position. And I understand and appreciate for the people who it's impacting directly, it's going to be a bit more harder to hear and harder to take on, and I appreciate that, and I accept it. But having said that, there's a few things, again, that I didn't touch on in the last debate, was I'm a little bit perplexed at some of the, I guess, items brought up in the debate in relation to the code of conduct that was mentioned. Now, the code of conduct references you can't disadvantage or neither advantage. So on that thinking alone, by us accepting betterment, are we now at breach of that as well? So this is what I'm saying. We can't pick and choose where the code of conduct comes into play if it's going to be a good or a bad thing. Again, this is clearly not targeting, and why I can say that is because not one council has come forward to put this forward. This is, as you can read, as per section 5.985 of the Local Government Act. It is something that must be discussed and debated between us. So the first and foremost thing I'm very upset about is the fact that people are coming back saying targeting, this is what's going to happen, and putting bad spin on it. This is why we get to a bad debate, is because, again, we don't take it from a bipartisan position. We need to take this as a bipartisan position. With all due respect, there's a discussion in relation to naming it about the deputy mayor being it was Tim Turner. Well, with all due respect, Tim Turner's got 2 months left of that position. So again, it's even more relevant that it's not targeting of Tim Turner. So I really want everyone to understand, and I'm trying to drive this as hard as I can, because this is not about dividing the council that's already been divided on several different occasions. This is about us holding ourselves to account, having a hard conversation, which I appreciate everyone having. Look, with all due respect, everyone's had that. I think it's a little bit, I'm trying to think of the right word. I disagree with the referencing certain people to previous leaders, to previous people, to what people do with their money. You do with your money what you what you wish to. Congratulations for those that give it away. Even more congratulations for you that hold on to it. For those who don't understand, there is absolutely a god-awful amount of hours that each and every one of us councillors put into this. And I see it, our heart, our soul, everything we got, we put into this. Along with the journey with the administration, which I know sometimes it can be a love-hate relationship, but I like to think sometimes it's more, love-love. But honestly, it's a lot of work, and I appreciate that and I understand that. But what I do not, what I will not stand for is when I can see that the work is not being reciprocated by what we should be is our leadership. So this covers an additional allowance on top of what the administration, let me correct that, from what the SAT believes is needed for your job. Hence the reason the mayor receives a bigger allowance at section 1. It's because that section allows him to run a meeting. It allows him to do other things. This is on top of everything else. I'm not taking away from what he does do. What I'm trying to say is, now where do we go from here if it improves? If we get an absolutely 100% in everything that we could potentially do, how do we celebrate and reward good behaviour and good work? We can't, because we're achieving 100% already, supposedly. And this is where I think we've got into a behaviour as a local government authority where we accept 100% where it's available. So, again, appreciate the conversations and appreciate everyone's points, and I'm happy to leave it there and let the voting gods decide where we do. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Councillor. Questions on NOS 4? No, those against? We'll now put it to the vote. So, yeah.
I'm actually not going to say much more. I certainly don't want to draw attention to myself, and I certainly don't want to draw attention to my remuneration. So I'm just going to leave it to council to make a vote, and I'll accept it with, I'll accept whatever outcome the council decides. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Turner. Okay, all those in favour? Four. Was against? 3. 4.
You're casting vote, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
No, you still need to do the casting vote. We've had this discussion.
Can I foreshadow before you make your casting vote? Well, it's your budget. You've got the budget to go ahead. I'm assuming you can't put your budget through unless this goes through. Yes, I'm trying to
Through the chair, it's an absolute majority.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. Can we
Cannot
just
have a casting vote.
foreshadow something before you make your casting vote? Because correctly, I'm still allowed to foreshadow, correct?
Well, what do we foreshadow?
Something. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you. I'll just finalise it and then we can go to there.
We need to know what you're going to foreshadow.
Go back to the amended motion with a revised salary.
No.
I don't know.
You just want to leave it as an amended motion with a, or return to the amended motion with a revised value.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, your casting vote is for or against?
For the.
It's for.
Yeah.
Just for the benefit of everyone else, the casting vote is still made, even though because it's an absolute majority, the item does not pass. That is why Councillor Christensen, I believe, foreshadowed before the Mayor exercised his right. Otherwise, no decision would have been made on this particular item. So, Mr. Mayor, I think you can go to Councillor Christensen now for his clarification on his foreshadowed motion.
Can I request a 5-minute break so I can finalise the actual definitions, please?
I think you need to do it on that system. 5-minute recess.
Yeah, we'll have a 5-minute recess. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Councillor Christensen, your foreshadow motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'm foreshadowing that the Part E of the elected members and allowances for 2023-24, Section 1 rule will remain unchanged. Section 2 will remain unchanged. Section 3 request that gets changed from $93,375 to $80,000 on the dot, and therefore Section 4 will alternate to $20,000. Thank you. Any more clarification required? No.
Can I get a second for that?
Yep.
Councillor Urquhart? Is anyone against? No, motion's carried. Okay, moving on. Part F, Material Variance Report for 2023-24. The Council adopts the following threshold regarding the level of variance report reported as a variance of 10% of 50,000, which is greater, of the year-to-date budget operational expenditure requires explanatory. Sorry. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Turner, thank you. A seconder, please. Councillor Zilke, thank you. Is anyone against that motion? No. Motion's carried. Absolutely. Thank you, councillors. Part G. Schedule of fees and charges. The Council adopted 2023-24 schedule fees and charges effective from 1st of August 2023 as per attachment 4. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Zilke, thank you. A seconder, please. Councillor Turner, thank you. Is anyone against the motion? No, motion's carried. Absolute majority. Thank you, councillors. Part H. The Council adopt the municipal budget for 2023-24. The budget represents attachment 3, including associated notes and supplementary information. Can I get a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Turner. And a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Christensen. Is anyone against the motion? Motion is carried. Absolute majority. Thank you, councillors. Okay, let's move on to 12.3.1, Statement of Financial Activity for the period ending 31st of May 2023. We have office recommendation before us that Council pursuant to Section 6.4 of the Local Government Act 1995. 1. Receive a financial statement, activity and receive material variance report. And 3. Note the accounts paid under delegated authority. And 4. Receive a credit card statement for the period ending 31st of May 2023. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Christensen. A seconder. Thank you, Councillor Turner. Is anyone against the motion? Motion is carried. Absolute. Thank you, councillors. 12.2 Community Services. 12.2.1 Town of Port Hedland Community Grants Program Review.
Through the Chair, can I just request that we just amend, we move the alternate motion that's presented, please?
Through the Chair, I do have a impartiality.
Impartiality, yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you. Would you like me to read it out now, Mayor?
No, it's okay.
I think I have to.
You want to read it? Okay.
Yes, I do have to.
Do
Yes. For this meeting, 12.2.1 community grants, an impartiality I'm declaring. So with regard to this agenda item, I disclose that I have an impartiality interest because of my involvement with the Pilbara Music Festival, who has currently an application in for the community grant funding. As a consequence, there may be a perception that my impartiality on the matter may be affected. I declare that I will consider this matter on its merits and vote accordingly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Gilliam. I'm going to deal with the office recommendations first. Okay, then we'll go back to your shadow, your motion. Okay. Okay, office recommendation before us at Council. 1. Notes the Town of Port Hedland Community Grants Program Review. And 2. Adopt the financial year 2023-24, the Town of Port Hedland Community Grants Program and Economic Development Diversification Fund. Can I move it, please? Councillor Zilke. Thank you, Councillor Zilke. Second. Thank you, Councillor Turner. Is anyone against the motion? Okay, thank you. Okay, Councillor Turner, let's second the motion. Oh, Zilke, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had considered option 2 previously, thinking that we started small and then work our way up. I've since reconsidered that notion in the point that with us having worked quite hard on sorting out the rates and taxes, the only other benefit that I see that happens quickly is making things available for the small business in our community. As such, I support the first option, the original option, with the full budget, so that we can not only help business out with rates and taxes, but we also give them the opportunity for further improvement. So we're we're putting back into our community, especially small businesses.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Zilke. Councillor Turner.
Yeah, I too support the officer's recommendation. I think it's an exciting development. I think if you look at the work that we've done over the last 12 months, in particular with our partnership funding with the microphone. Thank you. Yes. Just reiterating my points, I think that the work that we've undertaken in the last 12 months, particularly the work we've done with Care for Headland, that partnership grant, the work that we've done with SAFE, I think those represent significant investment from our town into the community. And I think it really shows a level of innovation that the town's, innovation and leadership that the town's providing, because what we're doing is we're building capacity and we are resourcing the community to engage and help council actually resolve and work towards bettering our community, whether it be environmental or other. We've touched on the budget, we've touched on the economy. I think one of the things that we've talked many times on council is about creating an economic environment for small business, for innovations, for maybe we haven't talked about micro enterprise, but this is the sort of grant that lends itself to those sorts of initiatives. And I think the budget that we've provided has been recommended, I think, is going to more than adequately meet those needs. So I think it's an exciting proposal. I think it's really innovative. I think it's leading. I'm not aware of too many other shires, councils, jurisdictions that are doing this type of work, and I hope to see more of it.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Turner.
So before we move on, can I just get some clarification as well? So are you taking mine as a foreshadow, correct?
Yes,
cool, thank you.
Yep. So anyone against the motion?
Yes, Your Worship. Well done to Joe and the team for putting this together. It's a breath of fresh air to come up with something like this. Not only just the community grants, but also the placemaking grants and the Economic Development Diversification Fund. This is fantastic news for the town. I do have some reservations on the amount, particularly put into the placemaking grants and the sustainability grants. I take your point with the email that you sent through to all councillors earlier in the week that potentially if we reduce it, which is probably going to come up in, well, maybe come up in the foreshadowed motion, but if we reduce it at this stage just for those two parts, then it'll give the town an opportunity to actually trial the new major streams for success. And if they are successful, then we can look to increase for next financial year, but to go bang straight up and then potentially not have success, or if we do have success, then we come back to look for continued increased funding is probably asking for a bit much. So for that reason, I'm against the initial motion of 650,000 and wouldn't mind seeing it just dropped by a couple of hundred down to 450 and get this through as a case of flight up the flagpole, see if it flutters.
Okay, thank you, councillor. Anyone else for? Anyone else against? Councillor Christensen.
Thanks again, everyone, for the communication and chats. It's always good. So, some of my concerns to start with is, again, reference to the dollar value. Budget's hot on the topic. We talk very liberal about budget and what we're going to expend. This is an increase of 3 times the current level of outlay for this area, this demographic. I don't see a 3 times sort of, I guess, implementation of workforce that's going to help back that up. We've got some issues with workforce retention. So again, by all means, I'm not shouting dispersions or negative things on this group. Much to like Councillor Eckhart said, I think it's a testament to Joey and your team and everyone involved in this. This is, like you said, a breath of fresh air. It's exciting. I'm very excited about this to see what can come out of this. I'll highlight this by saying that my suggestion by going to the next one is going to indicate that we're going to get our toes wet. We're going to see what does float, what does wag, or sorry, what can't correctly quote what you said, but what wiggles or jiggles. But at the end of the day, I'm getting back to the point where I think what we need to be doing is, if we want to build something that's world-renowned, if we want to be building things that are historical, we can't do it with just throwing money at it. If we want some examples of that, we've done this before when we go to the food festival, etc., like that. Like, these things are just proof that, money alone will not drive this. So what I'm trying to suggest is that, again, and remember this very clearly, is this, by reducing the dollar value, does not eliminate the need for somebody else to come to us. For example, if Jo and her team are getting through this and something's really sparking an interest, we have Q2. Or vice versa, they can still encourage people to come to us to go, hey, look, ladies and gentlemen, this is outside the grants program. We've done numerous times over the last 2 years that I've been here. So again, these are things I want us to consider. Right now, in my opinion, this is a great opportunity with some great initiatives that have been demonstrated to us by administration and some areas that are lacking. Let's go and let's do it. Let's get our toes wet. Let's see what it does present and allow some opportunity for growth. And right now, you're not allowing opportunity for growth because, with all due respect, I don't see us putting investment again in next year on top of this if it has to go to a different area. We might, switch and change. But again, I'd like to see what it can present, because I think there's some good opportunities here that we want to make sure that when we do run with this, we've given it 100% effort to where it could be potentially perceived. So that's the biggest ones I had for that one. But again, I will have you note as well, remember that my only concern with the original motion as it reads is that it, in my opinion, happy to correct it, this might be a correction that we might need on this motion, but I don't believe this original motion includes the $50,000 of additional budget. So again, if you vote for one, I'm assuming we're not going to be having the $30,000 for trash for cash and the other 20,000. So just food for thought. That's something that we will lose. Well, can we get some clarification on that, please? Because the finances here suggest only $600,000 on the report. And I reference it to page 34.
I can clarify the intent is to adopt the full package, including the optional add-ins, which are the cash for trash and the CCTV rebate.
Cool, because
so there will be the community grants for 200,000, the placemaking grant for 100,000, the sustainability grant for 100,000. The economic development grant for 200,000, and then the cash for trash for 30, and the CCTV rebate for 20.
So my only concern is in the report, the body of the report, it says budget recommendation, community grants 400,000, economic development diversification fund 200,000, equaling $600,000. Does not come into consideration the other two, please. Can I get some correction on that? Because with all
in addition to that, there's the CCTV rebate and the cash for trash.
Again, I don't see that from the report I'm reading. Because the recommendation does suggest two figures.
The office's recommendation makes reference to the point 2 is the attachment 2, which includes all the grant streams that I've just listed.
With respect,
which
it doesn't
includes the
actually
two
say
optional.
point 1 or point 2, attachment 1 or 2. It just says to the current community grants program and economic development diversification fund, and that's only 600.
The intent was to include the cash for trash and the CCTV rebate. That's up to, like, council can clarify that through an amended motion if you wish.
Yeah, only doing the one motion, which is the one on the officer's recommendation we're doing at the moment.
For clarification purposes, Mr Mayor, maybe the mover and seconder might be happy if part 2 includes the words attachment 2, just so that we're very clear about what we're actually moving. And I think from listening to the director, attachment 2 contains the 650 figure. 660 or 650?
It's 650 for the grants, and then on top of that, noted in the report, there's a $10,000 marketing budget fee associated with obviously marketing the program. But the program itself is 650 plus the $10,000 for the marketing. However, the marketing fee is not a grant stream per se.
Okay. Okay, so the mover was Councillor Zilke, second was Councillor Turner. And we put that into the...
Are the mover and the seconder happy to accept the words attachment 2 as an addition to part 2? Yes.
Yep.
I'm not sure it's an amendment rather than it's more of a clarification, Councillor, yes. If the mover and seconder are happy to support it, then I think it can be discussed, Councillor.
Okay, so it's in there. Okay, so the mover was Councillor Zilke, the second was Councillor Turner for the amendment motion.
And Councillor, just to clarify, Councillor Christensen finished speaking?
Yeah,
so it was more of a clarification part way through when you were speaking, that's all.
Okay. Okay, so do we have a move to move against the motion? Or for was Councillor Turner and Councillor Zilke moved it?
No, you're after, we're in debate, it's for.
Oh, for, okay, for it. No one else for it? No one else against? Okay, sum up, Councillor Zilke.
Thank you. Just reiterating that that this is an exciting time to be supporting our small business in line with the adopted rates and taxes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Zilke. Okay, now put it to the vote. All those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 5. Those against? 3. Motion's carried 5-3. Okay, 5.3.1 Omnibus Scheme Amendment number 1 to Local Planning Scheme number 7 final adoption. We have officer's recommendation before us at Council in relation to Scheme Amendment 1 Omnibus Amendment of the Town of Port Hedland Local Planning Scheme number 7. 1 adopts the final approval with modification outlined in attachment 2 schedule of modification, and 2 note the submission received and no further that only the modification process to amendment document since Council initiated the amendment to the changing zone from lot 500 Forest Circle, South Hedland, to proposed civic community mixed use for the reasons stated in this report, and all other aspects of the amendment remain initiated by the Council, and 3 authorise the Chief Executive Officer and the Mayor to execute an amendment document to pursuant to section 53 of the Planning and Development Regulation 2015 and provide the West Australian Planning Commission copy of the Omnibus Amendment 1 relevant documents and the final approval by the Minister for Planning. Could I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Zilke. Second, do we? Councillor Turner. Thank you, Councillor Turner. Is anyone against the motion? Motion is carried, absolute majority. Thank you, councillors. 12.3.2, proposed widening of a portion of Wilson Street, Port Hedland. We have offered it as recommendation before us. that Council, 1, support the proposed adjudication of the allocated Crown land parcels adjacent to Wilson Street shown in attachment 1, and 2, indemnify the Minister for Land against any claim compensation in relation to proposed dedication, and 3, advise the Department of Planning and Land and Heritage Council's resolution. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Zilke. Seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Urquhart. Is anyone against the motion? The motion is carried, absolute majority. Thank you, councillors. (12.3) Infrastructure Services. 12.4.1 Stanford and Aquatic Centre Rivification Works. Okay, so we have officer's recommendation before us that Council, 1, acknowledges the rivification works required at the South Aquatic Centre and associated operation impacts. That 2, notes that both 50 lap pool lanes and leisure pools will not reopen until works have been completed. These works are scheduled to commence in August 2023. And 3, note the aquatic tower has affected corrosion and will remain closed until the renovation works are completed. And 4, note the allocation of the 2023-24 capital works budget of $585,000 for the 50-metre lap pool and leisure pool rivification works and $100,000 for the rivification works at the aquatic tower funded by the Asset Management Reserve. Can I get a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Zilke. A seconder. Thank you, Councillor Gillingham. Is anyone against the motion? The motion is carried, absolute majority. Thank you, councillors. 12.4.2 Endorsement of concept design for community transfer station at the South Headland landfill. We have officer recommendation before us that Council, 1, endorses the concept design for the community transfer station at the South Headland landfill, and 2, endorses the Chief Executive Officer to seek external funding and grant opportunities. Can I have a mover, please? Thank you, Councillor Zilke. A seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Turner. Is anyone against the motion? Motion is carried, absolute majority. Thank you, councillors. 12.4 Executive Services. 12.5.1 Revise 1-016 Workplace Health and Safety Policy. We have officer recommendation before us that Council adopt the revised policy 1-016 Workplace Health and Safety as per attachment 2. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Zilke, thank you. I have a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Urquhart. Is there anyone against the motion? The motion is carried, absolute majority. Thank you, councillors. Item number 13, motion to approve as notice has been given. There is nil. Item 14, new business of urgent nature. There is nil. Item 15, matters which meeting may be closed, confidential matters. We have one confidential matter which is considered by tonight's council. Councillor Killer, are you available to provide a declaration that you maintain confidentiality during the closure of this meeting?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. We have officer recommendation that council close the meeting to members of the public as prescribed in section 5.23 of the Local Government Act 1995 to consider item 15.1. Governor mover, please to go into confidentiality. Thank you, Councillor Zilke. Seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Bennett. Is anyone against the motion? Okay, motion is carried, absolute majority. I can now declare the meeting closed at 8:44 p.m. Closed for conference briefing. Yeah. it's written, yeah, okay.
Lee, is there anyone outside? No.
Okay. Okay, I declare the meeting back to the public open at 8:58 p.m. The council has a conference report resolved on the following. Item number 15.1, award tender RFT 2223-20, restricted tender, Port Hedland Yacht Club venue lease. The council reject both tenders under clause 1.8 of the request of the tender document, and 2, authorise the CEO or his delegated negotiation disposal of the property via a lease as per provision under section 3.58-3 of the Local Government Act 1995, and 3, receive a report of the future update with the prospect of the progress of the negotiations. Thank you. The motion was carried 5-3. Item 16, closure. 16.1. The ordinary council meeting will be held on Wednesday, the 30th of August 2023, commencing at 5:30 p.m. 16.2, closure. Being there no further business, I declare the meeting closed at 8:59 p.m. I'd like to thank councillors, members of the public, CEO and staff for their attendance this evening. Thank you.